Thank you for watching or listening to the ASB Author Showcase, spotlighting authors from around the world. ASB Author Showcase is produced by Author School of Business, an author-owned organization helping authors to fully understand the business side of being an author. If you would like to be on the show or to be a sponsor of the show, simply email us at authorschool@outlook.com. Your hostess for today's show is Charlotte Cannon.
I'm your host, award-winning author Charlotte Cannon. And today, my guest is Alan Bourgeois. Now, Alan has been writing since the age of 12. He's the champion for those wannabe authors and those established authors as well. Alan helps authors through many venues, one of which is the Author School of Business. Welcome to the show, Alan.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Now, Alan, we want to talk, I know you've got many books, but we want to talk about your new book, and it's called A Homeless Man. I think you've written probably a very poignant viewpoint of a homeless man. And you probably don't know this, but I've had a granddaughter who was homeless as well. So I can have some empathy for this, and I can understand. Tell us a little bit about your background and why you wanted to write this book.
So it's not an easy subject to begin with. The full title is Help the Homeless Find Homes, What the Public Can Do to Reverse and Correct This. And that's really what the intent was that I wanted from this book. There have been lots of books that have been written about homeless people, whether it be their own self-stories, about how they got into it, how they recovered from it, what they're doing now and stuff. There's lots of good books about that. There's, of course, a lot of fiction books that nonfiction books that are more about the clinical side of homelessness and all the aspects and stuff. So what I wanted to do was create something that was short, sweet, and simple to read, that gives the basics of what causes it, the top 10 things of that, and then the top 10 things the public can do that will help reverse and correct it and alter it. But in writing that part, that was easy. But it was the hard part of me telling my story. It's not something I'm thrilled about, especially being the second time this has happened to me. But the universe, God does this thing, and so you've got to just roll with the punches and do the best you can with it. So I'm hoping through my simple short story that I put in there of what caused my situation and how I'm dealing with it, plus in the other two sections, I'm hoping will help educate people and spur them to do a little bit more, because it's clear all of our city governments, state governments, federal government has just failed. When we're talking about drag queens and transgenders, that is such a small population. I think the latest figures was like 10% of what the homeless population is. So you add up all the homeless and only 10% of that represents the transgender and drag queens that we're talking about and spending so much time and energy on, which means we're forgetting the other things, which is the poverty, why people are being put into homelessness and why it's increasing so much, especially right now. And the things, like I said, we can do to help alter it and change it and stuff.
Do you think that COVID triggered, more homeless because of what all we went through?
It was a major thing that helped push it along, yes. I would say as they're coming out with the figures, they've seen close to between 25 to 40% increase. And a lot of that does come back to the COVID aspect. People who lost their income, unfortunately, were put in a position where, they were losing their apartments. Thankfully, because of COVID, they didn't lose it immediately. But when you add up all those months that have been lost, and then when all those safeguards were taken away, they found themselves stuck still in the situation that they were losing their homes and stuff. Add in the huge inflation we had during 2022 and even through part of this year, that immediately caused a lot of people to be placed out of their homes because they could no longer afford it. I mean, when prices of the rentals are going up 10, 20% over 2 years, it's just impossible to keep up with that, especially since the wages weren't keeping up with that as well.
Well, you know, back in history, we really only had 2 classes. Now we've got many different classes and levels. So, you know, how would you, there is no pigeonhole you can put the homeless in. You said there were 10 different reasons why people went into homelessness. Now, I told you early on that my granddaughter, and hers was because she was a drug addict. And, that's what put her in, and she lived in empty barns, she, anywhere she could get shelter.
You're right. The drug addiction or alcohol addiction is one of the top ones that definitely causes that, because they get so caught up and they can't find a way out of it. And of course, all the money's going to the drugs because that's what they feel they need and stuff, which is that chemical aspect, mental aspect. But that's only one part of it. Another part is all of the PTSD that's going on with our military people. There's just way too many people from the military that are homeless because of the stress that they are dealing with that PTSD, and they're not being able to properly get the help they need. Thankfully, there are the federal government has gone to reach out and help them more so than they previously had. So they are getting off the street and getting the mental health they need, but there's still a lot out there. Then you add in the economics and stuff, and you have those sudden emergencies such as hurricanes, wiping out homes and stuff, and all of a sudden prices go up because there's not enough homes to house everybody and stuff. And people who may or may not have the right type of insurance, it may take a while to get that insurance, and in the meantime they're stuck. If FEMA doesn't pull up the homes immediately, it takes months for that to process and stuff, so people end up homeless. And one thing about homelessness for almost everybody, even the ones that I see a great deal of and which I fall into, which is the working homeless, meaning that we are working, we're bringing in some kind of income, just not enough to house us. We still have a car and we're sleeping in our cars. We're doing the best we can to survive, and trying to get through that point. And I kind of distracted myself on my point there, but even us are running into issues that there's just no help for us. And it's very frustrating when you see the city wanting to grow, but not take care of the housing properly until it's too late and too many people are already homeless and stuff. But you're right, as far as drug abuse, it is one of the top ones. It's just one of the many things that does cause it.
Well, Alan, you mentioned a little bit about living in your car, and like you say, the working homeless. They want to get out there. They want to make a good living. They want to contribute back to society. And you said yourself that you fell into that. Would you like to share a little bit of your story?
I'll try. I'll be honest, it's not a subject I talk very well about, simply because it's so personal. And even writing it in the book there, I had to rewrite it several times to try to add more to help people understand. When I announced it on TikTok back in November of 2022, the immediate responses I was getting was, well, go get a job, or, stop doing the drugs, or stop being an alcoholic, things that people were saying, which they don't know anything about me, which is the logical assumptions, okay, because that's what they see. In my case, it was a combination of things that just came together and just made a mess. We had COVID, and with the businesses I had and still operating to a certain point, we lost 80% of our income in that first year. And that's huge, going from earning $100,000 in income for the business in 1 year down to 80 or 20,000, and your bills are 14 to 15,000. That hurts. Then the second year, from 21 to 22, we lost another 80% of what that was, and that even hurt us more. So when we're still dealing with about $4,000 a month in bills, and your income is less than that, things start happening. For me, I lost all 3 of our storage units that we had. One was our museum, which had $30,000 worth of books. and other materials, one-of-a-kind type of materials. We lost that because we couldn't afford to pay it anymore. We lost the tents that we used for an event. And then all my personal stuff got lost at the very end there. And it was, I did everything I could. I did apply for jobs after jobs after jobs. And for whatever reason, I could not get hired, whether it be my age, because I'm 62. Even during that time, still 60, 61, 62. I know it was not the thing to hire older people, even supposedly we're in need of workers of any type and stuff. I'm physically fit. I'm very healthy. So it made no sense for me not to be able to get jobs, including the ones that were in the background that I had experience with, lots of experience with, restaurants, things of that nature and stuff. But like I said, all of those little things kept adding up from 20 to 21, and in 22, it just all fell apart. There's no coming back. No matter how hard we tried to build the business back up, all of our members, all of our people that we worked with were hurting financially as well, and trying to make sure that they survived through the inflation and everything else. They had no money to spend. They had no money to help us operate. And it just was a snowball effect. And that's the bottom line.
Oh, I think we need to take a break. We'll be right back with Alan, so stay tuned. Each and every one of us has a mission in life. Mine is to help people laugh through the good times and the bad. My name is Charlotte Canyon, and I'm an author, a speaker, and a host on Indie Beacon Radio. If you need me to speak at an event or autograph my book, you can contact me at charlotte@charlottecanyon.com. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Mary Ann Fairmouth is a career consultant with 30 years experience in the national recruiting world, a multi-award-winning author in multi-genres, and a speaker that gives presentations to help you succeed. Her book, Revolutionary Recruiting, made the top 20 global list of recruiting books. Find her on Amazon, your favorite bookstore, or at fairmouth.com.
Are you a poet looking for an opportunity to showcase your talent and win exciting prizes? Look no further than the Authors School of Business Poetry Contest.
Join a community of talented poets and get your work recognized by industry professionals. This is your chance to take your poetry career to the next level.
Our contest is open to poets of all ages and backgrounds, and we welcome poems in any style or genre. So whether you're a seasoned writer or just starting out, We want to hear your voice.
Visit our website to learn more about the contest rules and how to submit your work. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to showcase your poetry and win amazing prizes.
Join the Authors School of Business Poetry Contest and become a part of a community that celebrates the beauty and power of poetry.
Welcome back to the ASB Authors Showcase with your hostess, Charlotte Cannon.
Hi, this is Charlotte Canyon, and I've got the pleasure of speaking with Alan Bourgeois today. Now, Alan's got a very touchy subject, and it's our homeless. And I want to share a fact with our audience. I heard the other day that by the year 2035, that there will be more seniors in the world than there will be children from the age of 1 through 18. And I wanted to ask you, Alan, is the senior population growing out there in the homeless, or is it more middle stream? What are the age groups, that you think are out there?
We actually do cover that in the book. We break it down by not only the race, but the age and the sex, so people can see a fairly thing. But yes, with the high cost of medicine, even Part D, Medicaid, and stuff like that. For example, I had to retire early at 62. By doing that, I lost half my income that I would have gotten at 65. So I'm only bringing in $725 a month. No way can I get an apartment with that. That barely covers my cost of the vehicle that I'm still making payments on, and gives me very little for food and stuff. So I have to definitely keep other income coming in, which I constantly am working on, constantly doing, to help make that happen and stuff. But yeah, it is becoming harder and harder for older adults, our seniors, me included, because of the higher increase in medicines, the medical aspects, the housing. Their old homes are being priced out, through property taxes. They can't afford to continue that and stuff. So there's a lot of combinations, and I am seeing that happening. But in a general sense, it is all across the board. There have been many people I've seen that are living in their cars that are middle-aged, 30s, 40s, 50s. Some have chosen to buy the vans, which I would love to have done, is to buy a van that it has a sleeping area, food, cooking area, and all that stuff, and be able to travel around. But I don't have that option. I've seen, though, other people doing that because they can't afford to live in a house anymore and stuff, but they can afford the gas to travel and to do things and stuff. Some are, like I said, choice, some are by necessity. I've seen many families that have kids, sleeping in the cars with them and stuff, whether it be a single mother or a mother, husband, wife team and stuff. So it's a wide gamut. You see it all on the streets these days. And it's frustrating that, again, I just don't see a lot of communities doing the right things to help get these people off the streets and into either temporary housing or housing that can become long-term. Excuse me.
Well, I know I'm Catholic, and I'm part of Catholic Charities, and we here in Denton happen to have a home that's one of our Monsignors, named after Monsignor Wolf. But it's only available, as you say, to the homeless when the temperature is over 100 or the temperature is below 32. That is the only time we can afford to, keep it open and feed them and have them, have a shelter. Do you think do you have any ideas of what a solution would be?
There are some really good solutions that are out there. There's one here in Austin that's a really good one. It's been nationally recognized. And what they are doing is the tiny homes. They have created basically a park where all these little tiny homes are all set up. As part of the entry system, of course, the person has to go through certain qualifications. I was signed up on the list back in 2019, and here it is 2023, and not been called or anything. But there overall program is one to help those that are addicted. They do have programs specifically for that. They have programs specifically for women who are abused or are in an abusive relationship with their kids and stuff. And they also have those that have been determined to be long-term homeless, but still have the ability to recover and to move into jobs or long-term housing and stuff. It's a great program, but it's an expensive program. And there's a lot of support staff that are helping to keep that going and stuff. I'd love to see that continue to grow and stuff. I know LA has a similar situation, but I cringe when I think of theirs because to me, a 10 by 10 cubicle, which is the equivalent of a jail cell, with no bathroom in it, and it's just a cot. No window. I think it only has one window and there are 4 walls. That to me, yeah, it's the best they can do with what financially they have, but it's not really something homeless people can feel comfortable enough that they can move forward to the next level. It's still degrading, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they can't take ownership in that and grow from it.
Right. So, I get the county has limited funds, and they all do. But still, at the same point, you have to give something that the homeless can take respect for, feel respected about, and like you said, ownership of, so that they can start healing, start moving towards the next step and stuff. So,
Alan, I'm going to ask you, and this is probably a little bit touchy subject, but I, as a woman, and I'm sure men too, I would think being homeless would be a scary situation, not just because you may not have food, but is it scary within each other? What are some of the scary things?
There's a lot of scary things. And I touched upon this briefly in my story. For example, one night, I go to a specific park that is close to the Lady Bird Lake here in Austin. And it's relatively quiet at night. It's peaceful, it's dark. But one of those particular nights I was there, 300 feet away from me, a car had been pulled up and somebody shot the driver, and then pushed the car into the river. Luckily, when I heard the shots, I immediately woke up, called the cops, and they were able to catch the guy who was running away from it. But nonetheless, somebody died in a vehicle there. On that same street, somebody was drunk and came barreling around the corner and ran into another car and caused, that person's home to be severely damaged. And they thankfully had the insurance to replace it, but they went for a good 2 weeks without a home because it was in the shop and stuff. Many times I hear, gunshots going off and stuff. Matter of fact, a couple of nights ago, I heard gunshots, nearby me and stuff. But that's just me. For women, a lot of women are raped. A lot of women feel they have to be in an abusive situation that is not really healthy for them, but because of the male protecting them, they go into that situation. They need that protection, the additional protection and stuff. But that's just one aspect of it. The other aspect, of course, is the mental. It's hard to feel safe constantly. I mean, again, one night, somebody pulled up next to my car and jumped out and then started tapping on the windows, to try to break it. But luckily, I woke up fast enough and I said something, they immediately drove off. And that's actually happened to me twice. So those things are definitely scary. And that's something that irritates the hell out of me, is why don't the city have areas that are safe for people to go and park and to, feel safe for that type of situation, even have porta potties that they can use and stuff. There's just so many different things that it is frustrating for the person who's homeless, but then also for the community at large having to deal with it and stuff. So,
it just dawned on me, we used to have all these old drive-in theaters. They had restrooms and they had, they had places where you could park your car. That might be a little thought, because I saw an old one the other day.
Yeah, and even some of the empty lots that are out there that are owned by the city or owned by the state, they could easily convert those into temporary situations for those people that are sleeping in their cars and stuff. Give them a safe space, to be
to be
there. Yeah.
And why couldn't they assign a cop? Alan, we're going to take a break here and let our sponsors do their thing.
As an author, it's important to find an organization that can provide the resources and support you need to succeed in the publishing industry. The Authors School of Business, ASB, is a well-respected organization that has been helping authors learn how to market and sell themselves and their books since 2011. Here are a few reasons why you should consider joining ASB instead of another organization. 1. Expertise and experience. 2. Comprehensive education. 3. Customized learning options. 4. Community and networking. 5. Cost-effective and flexible membership options. ASB is an excellent choice for authors who want to succeed in the publishing industry. By joining ASB, you can benefit from the organization's expertise and experience, receive comprehensive education, customize your learning experience, connect with a supportive community, and enjoy flexible and cost-effective membership options.
The garden was still there, full of vegetables and flowers, and a little lone rabbit sat nibbling on a pea plant. Cooney picked, chopped, and cooked some cabbage, chop, 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 and Coda picked 2 carrots and cut them into pieces. I'm so happy to have a new friend. The end. Wasn't that fun?
Yeah!
Welcome back to the ASB Authors Showcase with your hostess, Charlotte Cannon.
This is Charlotte Canyon, and it's been my pleasure to speak with Alan Bourgeois about a topic that touches every one of us. Either directly or indirectly, we've seen a homeless. We have homeless people in our family, or we know someone, who has a family member that's homeless. Alan, in this last few minutes of the show, would you tell people how they can get your book and how they can reach out to you? Because it sounds like, you have to be in it to understand how to fix it, or how, to go forward, or even the homeless themselves, how they can get out of the situations they're in.
Yeah, and that's something about the various projects I've seen that are actually working. They come from people who were homeless, so they understand it better than somebody who's only learned about it through educational aspect. So that's definitely a positive in that respect. Something good comes out of it. So people can purchase my book, of course, at any bookstore. It's available in print on July 4th, so they can pre-order it now if they want to. And I choose July 4th because it is Independence Day. And for this year, I thought, that should be Independence Day for homeless people as well and stuff, helping them to find homes and stuff. $5 from the paper edition goes to my foundation that I've created for this. $3 from the EPUB editions go to that as well. And then I've also created t-shirts that are woke. And matter of fact, this is one of them. You can see it. And there's a whole bunch of other ones and stuff. You can find those through going to my website, bourgeoismedia.com, which is on the screen. And also, like I said, the book's available all over the place, or they can buy it directly from me. And if they do from me, then I'll autograph it and send it to them. If they have questions, I'm on social media, B Allen, A-L-A-N, Bourgeois, for all my social media accounts. So they can feel to reach out there, or Bourgeois Media. If they have questions, comments, whatever, they're welcome to reach out to me. And definitely, like I said in the book, there are 10 ways to help. Simple little things that people can do in the public to help with this. Most importantly is to vote for people who are actually working towards fixing this. And of course, I know this is a hot topic, but millionaires got to pay their taxes. If they did, a lot of people would be in so much better shape. It really is just that simple. And I know there's a lot of people shaking their head. No, it's not that simple. It is. But anyways, I'm digressing there. So.
What is the name of the foundation, Alan?
It is Help the Homeless Find Homes Foundation. It was just created this year as part of this aspect that I'm trying to do. Because, like I said, I'm just one of something like 50 to 75,000 homeless people in the United States. There's over 1 million around the world and stuff. And I, through raising the funds, I'm pushing it towards the organizations that are actually doing the right things to get people off the streets, not just organizations that are talking good. We have too many of those out there that talk the talk but don't do anything. They'd rather pay high salaries to their staff instead of actually doing stuff. So hopefully that will help.
Yeah, you said a mouthful there. It's a lot of people that talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And like you say, sometimes you have to walk the walk to understand, how dramatic, this can be. As I said earlier, my granddaughter, walked this walk. She just her birthday was Saturday. In fact, I had lunch with her today. She turned her life around about 3 years ago, but she was homeless for, I'm going to say 15 years. I didn't know where she was or what she was doing. Alan, this has been a pleasure to speak with you, and also it's been very eye-opening, and I hope the people that listen to this listen to it with an open heart. I'm Charlotte Canyon. Remember, a rose is like a book. You can't know its beauty till you look at it. And a book is like a rose. You won't know its full beauty till it's open. Bye for now.
Thank you, Charlotte. I appreciate it.
Thank you for watching or listening to the ASB Author Showcase, spotlighting authors from around the world. ASB Author Showcase is produced by Author School of Business, an author-owned organization helping authors to fully understand the business side of being an author. If you would like to be on the show or to be a sponsor of the show, simply email us at authorschool@outlook.com. Thank you to Happy Follows for creating the music, Frolic of Words, for the ASB Author Showcase. You can find his music on all major platforms